And now, live from Isolation Station in Burbank, California, it's The Plague, week 18 of the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Alison welcomes a guest. He's a comedian who has a warning for seniors. Stop walking on squishy surfaces or you might topple over. It's David Huntsberger. And she's a writer who's hoping this quarantine ends soon because she's all out of velvet capes to wipe her butt with. It's Wendy Molyneux. Tone Zone is here to announce his new show on TLC, Say Yay to the Bidet. I'm her husband Daniel saying this show is actually a cake. So say hello to your new best cake. It's Alison Rosen.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison Rosen. Alison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little fried pickles. Welcome to another exciting Thursday show. That particular carbohydrate, which I've never experienced, and I've also never had fried green tomatoes, but that's a topic for another day, was sent into Patreon by Shannon Arata.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/Alison Rosen is where you go. You can see the video of this show. You can get behind the scenes content, bonus episodes, and you can submit carbohydrates. I would like to say hello to my guests. Very excited to see this group of people. Wendy Molyneux, hello.
Hello.
Exciting to see you. You are in such a very clean room because you just moved, right?
I just moved. So there's nothing in our bedroom except a bed.
Oh, is that your bedroom that you're in?
Mm-hmm. There's just a bed.
Just a bed. Where's all your stuff?
Well, we did a very complicated type of move to avoid germs. So we had the movers. We did get movers, but we moved out and then we let there be no one in our house for a couple of days because if we had it, we didn't want to infect them either. So we moved out. We waited a couple of days. Movers came in, got everything, and then they moved it into the garage and a pods unit over here.
Oh my God.
And then we're slowly moving it into the house. So that way we didn't touch it for a couple of days in case any movers also had any germs. And so it was very complicated. So the house is really empty and I'm realizing that I desperately want to throw all my possessions away.
Yes. That's what
great to have.
I can relate to that. The times of my life where all my stuff is somewhere and I'm somewhere else, I'm like, oh, this is nice.
It's great.
I want to get more into I want to get more into all of that. But first, David Huntsberger, hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I was first getting into comedy. I was living in hotels and condos all the time and friends' couches. And I had pretty much all of my possessions in a friend's garage and then in my little station wagon. And after a couple of years of that, I got to all right, I got to get all my stuff out of the station wagon. And there were things in my suitcase I didn't even use. So we all have way too much stuff.
Yeah,
we do. Tony Thaxton.
Hi, I have not moved. Hi, I got nothing. I started to talk and then I was like, I'm literally saying nothing. So hi, I'll just go with hi.
That has never stopped me in the past. And I caution you against letting that be the barometer for which you speak or don't speak.
Okay.
Okay. So Wendy, new house, still in Burbank. Yes.
Yep.
The view is gorgeous with those trees.
I haven't lived on a second story in years. This house has 2 stories. It is, I don't know. I like it.
And you have
It feels majestic. It feels quite majestic to be 1 story up at night when I go to sleep. I'm a real queen now.
Do you like your neighbors so far?
We've only met the one neighbor. Yes, they seem nice. They did, however, there was apparently someone sitting under a tree in our front yard. And the neighbor was like, oh, and I called the cops for you. And I was like, no. Like, we just had a whole thing about it. A man sitting under a tree, let's not call the cops because then they're going to kill him. Like, let's not do it. We don't kill a man for sitting under a tree. And she was like bona fide excited that she would call the cops. And she was like, you can call them for anything here. And I was like, I know, that's the problem. But I was processing it in real time and all of our societal need to be polite kicks in. And so I was just like, oh, next time, can you please just text me and I'll take care of it? Like, just to be like, please don't call the cops on my behalf ever again. Like, it just was because she's so friendly and everything. And then it was like, oh boy, like right away. And she was like in her car in the street as cars were like zooming by really fast. So like she wanted to leave and is delivering the news about how she called the cops on a man under a tree. It was a whole thing. But
as far as you know, is he okay?
Yes, I believe that gentleman. I don't think there was any kind of confrontation or anything. I think he got up and left of his own accord was what I think she said. But I was also kind of in one of those blind panics you get when you like your societal training to be polite to someone clashes up against them telling you something that you desperately want to be like, never do that again. It's like the two sides of your brain kind of being like, remain non-confrontational, but then also like confront. So I think I was just in a daze, and I don't think I got all the information.
So in a smaller sense, I find that happening to me a lot when I see my neighbors, all of whom I like. No, I did not appreciate the people that lived next door that had their raucous church parties with full band PA drums, but the two pastor priests, they weren't priests, they were pastors, two pastors who were both married, not to each other, 4 people and children in one house. They moved. So I like all my neighbors. However, I frequently see them outside chatting with each other without masks. And I'm like, no, I don't want to feel this way about you. But now I just feel like maybe there's a little bit of, or a lot of irresponsibility happening. What is going on? And I don't say
apart,
anything.
or are they next to each other?
They are across the street. But there was a celebration for so there was a boy who graduated from high school, and we were told everyone's going to come out of their house at a certain time. It's like 6:30 or something, and bang on pots and pans to celebrate him. And he's going to come out in his cap and gown. So we grabbed our dumb pots and pans and went outside and discovered we're the only people with pots and pans, the only people standing in our own driveway. Everyone else was just in their driveway having a party, not socially distanced.
No.
It made me uncomfortable.
Did you pretend you were stirring though? Like just to justify, you were like, oh,
I just happened to be
making
making a cake. Yeah. We did a lot of like, yay, congratulations, ha ha ha, and then went back inside because we can blame everything on having a baby. Like, oh, they got to go inside because they're baby. So
also,
that's what we did.
Yeah, you don't need an excuse to not go put COVID spittle in people's faces. You did the right thing.
Thank you. How did your kids handle the move?
Really, it was, I think it went, the first night was like operatic. Screaming, this house is terrible, we hate it. No. But only from the oldest. But I mean, I think it's because you got to get it out. Don't you feel that way a little bit when you move or go somewhere new? You're like, what have I done? It was like
sort of decision or change in my life. We just finally, after living here forever, got one piece of patio furniture, and I'm already like, did we make a mistake?
Yeah. So there was like one night of truly operatic regret. The other kids literally got up every 15 minutes until 4 a.m. So I was up till 4 a.m, just over and over and over again, just walking them back. Were they coming into your room? Yes. And part of our move is no more kids in our room because our 4-year-old up until recently would, in the middle of the night, we left a pack and play on our floor. We just never trained him not to. Would just get up about midnight, calmly walk into our room, get into the pack and play, and fall back asleep.
A pack and play, for people who don't know, is like a little, like a playpen portable crib, right?
And because we have been getting up in the middle of the night for so long, to us, that was a perfectly fine thing to be happening. Like, it was like, he doesn't require our attention. We don't have to get up and do anything. So but our goal with moving here was we put the 2 middle kids who are 4 and 5 and almost exactly 1 year apart into bunk beds in the same room in the hopes that Matthew would then stay in bed because his brother was in his room. He used to have his own room and it has worked. But that first night was bonkers, but only lasted one night. And now they love it. So it was one night of,
do they love it? Because our plan eventually, because Elliot and Owen like to be together, and I can see a point where they're going to want to sleep in the same room, and then they could have like one room for playing and one room for bunk beds.
Yes.
That's the plan.
It has been, now everybody likes to hear it's much more space for, there's 6 of us. We were in a much smaller space, and it was just, you could hear everyone like breathing at every moment of the day, which starts after 3 months of everyone all the time. I think everyone was going a little bonkers. So this was a good change.
And you have a swimming pool, right?
We do now have a swimming pool. Yes.
Are you loving it? Because my memory is that you were anti-pool.
No, I'm worried about a pool, but we got this thing called the Catch a Kid net, and it's like impenetrable. It's hard to put on. But we do it after every swimming session. And after a while, you get used to it. And then we also have a gate that locks. So when we know my conditions for having a pool were like when I have to feel okay when the net is on and the gate is locked. And I do, because they're very hard to get through. The gate is like very tall. The net is impossible to get off. So far, so good. I don't want to jinx myself, but
I feel like if I had a swimming pool, I would feel like every day is vacation. Is that accurate?
It's wonderful. The kids love it. We swim for a couple hours a day. They get exercise. They're happy. I do recommend. I know I'm in a privileged quarantine position right now of like, we're still staying home, but we got to have this change. So I don't want to go on and on, but it has been a good change. So.
Dave, have you ever had a pool?
Yeah, my mom had a house for a while that had a pool, and it was phenomenal. It was like 30 miles north of Sacramento, so it would get like 110 in the summer. So the pool was critical. But man, it was really, really nice. I felt like the richest person alive.
That is, I grew up in Indiana and nobody had a pool. So to me, I know California is chock-a-block with pools, but to me, I'm like, this is the ultimate. I'm glad to know that I can be satisfied though. Cause like we were cramped and like I would sometimes complain about our old house and I'd be like, this sucks that I'm complaining. We have a house. I should stop complaining. And then part of me was worried, like, what if I'm a monster? What if we move? And then I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like even secretly in my heart. Instead, I'm like, no, this is everything I've ever dreamed of. I never need to move again. So at least I found out I'm not a total monster in this one way. Maybe other ways.
It's nice when you're unsatisfied and then eventually you are satisfied and you're like, oh, it's not just that I'm a true nightmare who can't ever be happy.
Yes.
Tony, have you ever had a pool?
Yes, but when I was young and I lived in Michigan and we just had an above ground pool, which is fun when you're a kid, but then when you start to get bigger, then it like quickly becomes, this isn't that great.
Above ground pools were big in Indiana too. Like if anybody had one, they had an above ground.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can someone answer this for me? No offense to all the people who are going to be offended. I think
perfect intro.
I think of above ground pools as very inland and also you might cook meth kind of things to have. Again, no offense, but I'm getting the sense that perhaps that's not the case. Like, are they a viable option?
They should be. It never made sense to me, the snobbery, like that you have to dig it into the ground. I think they sometimes get neglected because you can't see into them as easily. Like maybe you walk by and the railing is above your eye level. And you're like, I'll bet it's really clean in there. And then just years go by and it's filled with tumbleweeds and then the wood gets all rotten and falls over if you even put up like a decking thing around it. So I think they're just easier to neglect. And then the neglectors gave a bad reputation to people that are like, my above ground pool is great. I take good care of it.
I mean, they're nice enough, but they're not, again, when you're like an adult, they're not, it can feel nice on a hot day, but they're not fun like a normal pool.
I found my friend Becky's above ground pool in Indiana very fun, Tony.
How old were you?
I mean, like 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's great
practically a woman. That's a dangerous joke to make right now.
It just has to do with if there's any kind of decking around it. If you put any sort, because if you're a kid, getting out, running, and jumping into a pool is 80% of it, I think. So if you're just kind of going over and touching this really flimsy side rubbery thing, like, okay, you can't get on it. You can't jump in. You can't really do any tricks on it. You need something stable there on the edge to do, some kid moves.
Yeah. But from what I remember, Becky's pool had a little side decking. I think it was essentially like all made out of like a can, but still enough that we could lay out, because laying out in the hot sun with no sunscreen was our number one activity. And if we weren't doing it at like her pool, we were doing it in a yard with a baby pool, but with those loungers with the plastic strips that eventually you get your leg caught in.
Mm-hmm. My parents still have those.
Yeah.
The plastic laying strapping was such a big, and laying out, I would get my teen magazines or my 17 magazine.
Yep.
And then my blue plastic boombox. And then I would listen to some hot jams. And I would.
This still
get
sounds
skin
like
cancer.
absolute heaven to me.
But with sunscreen now, right?
Now,
Did you guys ever come across this with all that? Like, I grew up in the desert. I wasn't really a shirt off kid. Like, you think of desert kids like racing around with no clothes. I pretty much was always in clothes, but never any kind of sun protection. And then I think when I was about 20, somewhere to 20 to 22 range, I was really tan, but we went to Lake Tahoe, and whether it was the atmosphere or whatever, I got so burned. And then after that, I had to use sunscreen all the time because my skin was like forever altered. And I had people like, ooh, wearing sunscreen. What are you, Hollywood now? Or if I wore sunglasses, did you have any of that like wearing sunglasses and or sunscreen was very like, ooh, very California of you?
I have a question. How did they know? Was it like the coconut scent? How did they know you were wearing sunscreen, or were they watching you apply it?
Yeah,
like if we went to the
would you make a big deal when you were about to apply it? Like, everyone, and you would bang on a bell. Gather.
It was more so that I would have like a little duffel bag in the back of a car or truck, and everyone would be racing over toward the edge of a lake to maybe either stand there, maybe get on a jet ski, and then I'd be quietly like leaning into the back seat, rubbing some suntan lotion on my shoulders, and I would hear, oh, look at the King of England over here. Look at this dandy. Look at this precious angel covering their skin.
I don't think I've ever been shamed for using sunscreen. Although my husband like tries to get me to put more on because he knows that there's this real, I mean, you're trying to say inland meth type. I know what you're saying, that I'm a little trashy.
No, it's not you.
No, but I am one of these people. I grew up. That's where I grew up. I grew up a little trashy. Yeah. So the part, you can't get it out of yourself once you're a little trashy. And I will not want to put my sunscreen on because I kind of want to still lay out. Like it's like, get me a baby pool and one of those plastic loungers and I would still do it. I love it, but I know I should put the sunscreen on.
When I said inland, though, I really was thinking like Inland Empire, like Riverside.
Yeah, but I mean, Indiana and the Inland Empire are cousins.
Are they similar?
It goes from Riverside to like the western edge of New York. I don't know, like as far. I mean, unless you're right at the water, everywhere in between, I feel like there's a significant amount of trashiness that everyone should be able to identify with.
I feel I've insulted everyone, but that. Again, but because of
you're
my
from
disclaimer,
Newport, Alison, you are fancy, right?
And
Newport or Costa Mesa? I can't
Corona del Mar.
Corona del
which
Mar,
is the same as, it's similar to Newport. It's part of Newport, but then I lived in Costa Mesa, so I have been one with the people. And Orange County is just doing fantastic right now. By the way, I don't know if you guys have been following up on the stances they're taking, but my thing with sunscreen. I, like you, Wendy, I don't think it's a trashy thing. I think it's the time that we grew up in.
Yeah.
You needed to be tan and you needed to lay out. And not only did we lay out without sunscreen, I would put like oil and stuff on to get a better, richer tan.
Yeah, some banana boat, some copper tone.
Yeah. And my dad was always, I can hear the sound of the screen door opening and him saying, don't get a sunburn, and me ignoring it. And then I would go inside and like pull down my bathing suit to see, did I get any color? I would do that years and years and years and years and years, including up to when I would walk Oliver when we lived in our old apartment that you guys know. And I was walking him midday. I still would not put on sunscreen because I still wanted to get color. And I think that is when I mostly got splotches because I have some discoloration on my face. I feel like I got that from that. And then I went to a dermatologist, not for that. And she was like, you got to wear sunscreen all day, every day. And for some reason that penetrated when nothing else would. And now I actually do wear it every day. Those kids at the lake would have a field day with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be letting you have it.
Mockery.
I just thought of a really embarrassing story that ties into this. I think I blocked this out that I must have had like a lake trip coming up or something. And I had a summer job where I was indoors all day, but I think it was a 30-minute lunch break. And so my plan was like, I'm gonna race over at lunch. I'll bring a lunch with me so I don't have to stop and buy one anywhere. Crank on some Banana Boat, Tropical Island, like the kind that's really smelly, but like an oil to attract the sun. And then I would like take my shirt off behind this like abandoned building. And then I was trying to learn to juggle. So I would just grab rocks and just juggle rocks for like 30 minutes and somehow think that I could squeeze back into work. And no one ever brought it up. No one was ever like, what's going on? Maybe the first day, like what? And I was like, nah, I don't know where that came from. I think like a classic teenager just denied it. Like, it must have been someone I walked past. What an idiot.
Wait, what were you doing for your actual job?
I was working in a retail store. So there weren't a ton of people around. It was an enclosed space where like we knew the scents. It was very clear I'd brought a foreign one in and a pretty like significant one at that, like coconut oil smelling. Yeah. And then I don't think I did it multiple times. I couldn't have. That was so embarrassing. But I feel like I did it more than once. What?
Couple questions. Did you ever learn to juggle? And also, could we hear more about the specific retail store?
Well, I've talked about the D-Bar M. So if any if any former employees were to catch wind of that, they're like, I do remember that. And that was
time
odd.
to stop where the cowboys shop.
Oh, now you're talking.
D-Bar M, the brand name in Western wear.
I think it's a brand name in Western stores, but you get it. Great song.
It was a Western store?
Yeah.
And then at lunch, you went and took your shirt off and tried to learn to juggle. I can't believe that you're not an independent film, like that you exist in the real world. Like this is the first 5 minutes of an independent film from like 2003, I want to say. Probably.
Yeah.
I see Matthew Lillard playing you, no offense.
Really?
Oh, I was going to go more like a Jesse Eisenberg. Like
I like that better.
He's like, and then he kind of like meets a girl who works across the street who sells basketballs. And then like one day when she gets mad at him, cause like they get together, but then like he also talks to some popular girl and then he's going to work and suddenly a basketball hits him in the back of the head. And then it bounces and crashes the window where the boots are. He turns around and he's like, Erica, come back. And she's like, no, you did that to me. And then it runs away. I've got the whole movie planned out. This is
But what did he do to her?
Just like he talked to a popular girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was enough to get a basketball? He works at the cowboy store. She works across the street at the basketball store. At lunch, he goes and takes his shirts off and juggles. And one day he's back there and she's back there with a soda. She's like, what are you trying to do? And then like, she's played by that one girl from Ghost World. Not Scarlett Johansson, the other one. Thora Birch. And she's like, what are you trying to do? You're like, juggle. And then they have like, and then they both like the same book. They both like Catcher in the Rye. So then you know everything about them. And yeah, it's like their summer, and then like she moves away. And then he's like writing about it 10 years later. That's the movie. There's your movie.
But
it's like Stand By Me.
He gets the basketball in the back of the head because he talked to a popular girl, which is a betrayal to Thora Birch because they were bonded over their like similar shared values. They both like Catcher in the Rye, and they don't.
Yeah, and they don't like high school and whatever. But then he like talks to that girl who's been mean to Thora Birch, and then she throws the basketball at the back of his head, and it's called like Cowboy Summer.
Does it end with like she goes away to junior college or moves or something, and then I'm successfully juggling, but I have this wistful look in my eye, kind of like you win some, you lose some, like that kind of ending?
Yeah, maybe. But also
But I
it could
do
be you when
juggle.
you're older and you're like in Brooklyn and you're walking down the street and then somebody's like, hey, and throws a basketball at your head again. And you turn around and there she is.
Yeah, she's wearing boots.
Yeah. And she like remembers the boots that you stole from the store to give to her that she wore in a swimming pool. And you're like, don't wear the boots in a swimming pool. But like,
Yeah.
they're still good. And you're like, the boots still look good. And she's like, do you want to get a coffee? And then there you go. End of
Right.
the movie.
And then
Cowboy
some
Summer.
creamers fall over and I catch them and then start juggling them just a couple rounds.
Yeah.
And then I set them back up and she's like, oh, I get it. You
I
did
love
figure
this
out.
movie. What a great movie.
I love the way it ends because it makes you feel like there could be more.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
they were with outsiders.
Dave, did you learn to juggle? Because you're going to need to for the creamer scene, even though you're being played
yeah.
by Jesse Eisenberg.
I'm probably pretty rusty, but yeah, I can do the 3 crossover. I never advanced beyond that. I thought I'd be sending them in circles and adding 4 and 5 and who knows how many.
Now, what made you want to learn to juggle? Because I really wanted to learn how to shuffle cards in a cool way. Like I thought, what a fun thing to have in my pocket. Anytime there's a deck of cards, I could just be like, you know, like the accordion.
What a terrible skill.
Are
you kidding?
No one would like that.
People love that.
They
I'm
do
from
not
Nevada.
like
There's
it.
cards everywhere. Everyone has a relative that worked in a casino, so there's cards everywhere. And if someone came over and just opened them up and then jumped them from one hand to the other, blow
cool
everyone's
is
mind. Yeah.
It really like
Not
before-
cool is the answer.
Very cool.
Not cool in any way.
I
I feel like
I
that
mean-
person is upsetting me.
You're picturing them in a top hat being a creep.
No,
But this is
I would,
just
the top hat would explain it.
I'm
Just
not trying
have somebody who you think is like just a regular person.
Yes.
You are talking to them and suddenly cards come out. You're like, what am I dealing with? I'm going to get killed.
They take
No,
the
it's
cards,
not
they
a
fan
good
them.
skill.
They fan them perfectly, and then
No.
they take one finger and they
Why?
run them back and
Oh
forth.
my God, I
The
still
You're
best.
want
not
to do it.
playing cards. They're just doing it for no reason.
Yes, but it's a skill and a
No,
recognizable
juggling is a
one.
form of entertainment that is known. Going like with cards is something to do at a card game and only then.
But
Or if you're
I
a
mean,
magician, again, the top hat would be fine. If Allison suddenly started flipping
Doing
cards right
close-up
now,
magic?
I would log off. I'm logging off.
no, you wouldn't. You'd realize how cool it is.
Are you suggesting that it would be acceptable if I learned close-up magic, but not
Yes.
accept? Really? Because
Yes.
that, to me, it's the other way around. It's okay
No.
if you're like, but if you're like, hey, you guys, let me pull something out from behind your ear, then that is a serial killer.
But don't you think
No,
more
magicians are not serial killers. They're nice men from the magic castle.
and people are
And sometimes
can be
women-
entertained be entertained by magic. They're not going to be
Exactly.
entertained by you shuffling cards.
Yeah,
No,
you
but
shuffle
here's
cards
what I
is a
think-
sign of disturbance.
No, say this. Say Allison is over and let's play poker. And then everyone is dealt. And then it's her turn to deal. She takes the cards in one hand, just with 2 fingers, rolls half the deck up and over the hand and cuts it without using the other hand. No
You
card
get it.
spill.
You
Yes,
get it 'cause
I
you're
said,
from
no.
Nevada.
This
Yeah.
is being taped. Roll back the tape if you need to. I said, if you are playing cards, this is okay.
Oh, okay. Apologies.
If you're playing cards, then it's fine. It's that if I'm just go over to Allison's like, Wendy, can you come over? Let's have a coffee and just chat. And we're just chatting. And suddenly she picks up cards and does stuff.
But
with them.
juggling's also
I'm
weird there
leaving.
too.
Huh?
Juggling is also weird there.
No, but juggling is a form of entertainment. I would sort of be mildly entertained by some juggling. Someone going with cards. That's not a thing. That's not, it's not magic, nor is it juggling, nor are we playing cards. It's simply for them. It's a narcissistic indulgence.
But I'm drawn to it just to see how they crowbar it into our having coffee. If they like open up a knife drawer or a drawer looking for a butter knife, and they go, "Oh, what are these cards?" And then they have to open the pack and shake them out. Then do this really, somewhat impressive, like you say, if you're playing cards, trick. But it's quick, if nothing else. So they do it in 1.5 seconds and then just continue pouring cream. I want to see that. I think it's so awkward and weird.
If I went over and Allison did that, and then somebody later was like, "Did you see Allison earlier?" I'd be like, "Yes," and I have to tell you something. I'm worried about her. because we were just having coffee. She went over to a drawer that seemed to otherwise contain only knives.
Just butter knives.
She pulled out a still wrapped deck of cards. She opened it. She took out the jokers and blanks. And then she proceeded to just go with it. And then she put it fucking away and acted like nothing ever happened.
I want
Allison
that.
is going through something. That is what that is.
Okay. Now, on the other hand, Dave invites you over for some coffee.
Yes.
And while you're in his kitchen, he's getting the coffee. He just happens to pick up, let's say,
I have a fruit bowl in this situation, I'm
fruit
assuming.
bowl.
Yeah.
he picks up a lime, a lemon, and an orange.
Mm-hmm.
And he just casually juggles them and then he puts them back. Is that not also
That's
like, what would you
very
think about
normal.
that?
If you can juggle, then of course, if there's things around to juggle, you can juggle because it's people like juggling. Allison, if you juggled, this isn't a gendered thing. If you also juggled while I was over for coffee, again, I'm not remarking later Allison's going through something, but if you take out a brand new deck of cards from your knife drawer, unwrap it, and just proceed to not even do a magic trick, to just do some fancy shuffling, I'm reporting that you're going through something to your other friend.
Wait a second, I solved it though. So I certainly wouldn't just grab the lemon, lime, and orange. I would bump it. Oh, let's get those back where they belong. Boom, 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 boom. Couple rounds just to let you know I got it. Then back in the bowl. With the cards, I'm assuming Allison would go, hey, are you free Friday night or Saturday? You know what? Let's cut cards and find out which night we should hang out on, high or low. And then boom, the cards come out, do a cool move, cut them.
That's, again,
Yep,
it's
that's
not
exactly what I
natural.
do.
It's not very organic.
I feel like the juggling is real. Like in this scenario, I feel like if you're the person who casually juggles the fruit to get it back in the bowl, you are begging for someone to be like,
Yes.
I didn't know you juggle.
That
Yes.
fool
But
is
that is
eager.
something I recognize from life.
Double drops.
I recognize that from life. People who juggle too much. We all know they like the attention. They juggle a little bit. You go, ooh, and then they move on. Someone getting out a deck of cards, literally not for a trick, just to do fancy shuffling, that's not a thing.
All right. What about, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. Let's say someone knew bar flair and they're making you a drink and suddenly the bottle's going up in the air and it's behind their back or whatever. Where does that fit in from the range of cards to juggling? Where's that?
It's obnoxious, but I'll allow it.
I
don't want to hang out with that person. I probably don't like them. If they're doing that just at home for no reason, I don't like it, but I get it. I think they're a show off. I think they're kind of annoying, but I'm like, well, they do bar flair and I don't know why they're doing it now and they want me to react. That's fine. However, if that same person is making you a drink and suddenly pulls out a deck of cards, not to do a trick,
But no, but
just
they're
to
cutting
do
them.
shuffling, that person is not okay.
Let me give you 3 scenarios. The fruit bowl bump to juggle combo. The butter knife. Oh, some cards. Let's cut cards to find out who's gonna whatever that might
Nobody
be. Pick
cuts
up the kids
cards
from
to find
school.
out.
They're wedging it
In
in
this
just like the
scenario,
fruit
they
bowl
do,
bump.
yeah.
Yeah, exact. Just like the fruit
This
bowl bump. They
scenario-
are now. They are also going. This is the third scenario. Very similar. They're desperate. They want the attention. In this one, they say, hey, you want to drink, you want some orange juice? And you go, yeah, that'd be fine. And then they go, what if we jazz it up a little with some vodka? And I've got the best mango thing to mix with it. And you go, I don't really feel like drinking. And they go, just try it. Just try a little bit. And then you go, okay. Next thing you know, they're shaking stuff up. Then they go lower right-hand side, flip, no look, catch it behind their head, upper right, and nonchalantly pour it into your glass and hand it to you. Of those 3 scenarios, which is the weirdest?
The cards.
No way.
Because it's not a thing. Like people
bar
juggling
flair
to
is
get
so much
attention.
weirder.
In these, I'm not saying that I love these people, like juggling and bumping into a fruit bowl and then making me a drink with flair. Both of those are attention getting behaviors, but they're attention getting behaviors of the known world. Like saying like it's like, oh, then you go in a knife drawer and get a deck of cards. Like
That's off the
no
known
one
world.
does that. That is not a thing that anyone does. It's not a thing.
People have like junk drawers in their kitchen. They're like, oh, I need some duct tape.
You said butter
or-
knife drawer.
Yeah, but this is where they keep the butter knife that they use to twist, like, because they don't really have a great screwdriver. So they have this butter knife that they've just given up on, and it's to like turn certain screws they have in the kitchen. It's one of those kind of things.
No, none of this makes any sense. Tony's with me and he's not saying it, but he agrees.
I legitimately
I can tell
am
from his
with
eyes
you.
and face.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because Dave is with me.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
We need a tiebreaker.
Yeah, no.
Who should we call?
Where's Daniel?
He's in the house.
Dang it.
All right, let's call him.
Great idea.
I'm gonna
And don't
get
tell him who's on whose side.
Right. And each of us can explain
won't.
one of the scenarios. How's that?
But
Let
those
me see if I can
scenarios
just get
only
him out
exist
here.
for you. I refuse to support the card scenario.
But you're welcome to jazz up your scenario in the most likely way you could see
I don't
it
even know
playing
what
out.
we're discussing anymore. What are we discussing? Whether it's good or fun or normal or
Yeah, I think what
what's
we're
on the table?
discussing, you're saying that 10 out of 10 people will choose the cards as being the weirdest of all three of these. And I'm thinking that the bar flair is the weirdest.
But at
No.
least
But I could also
the bar thing at least ultimately serves a purpose. Like, I mean,
Right.
the flair, no, but they're at least making a drink for you.
But they crowbar you into it with like, come on, have some booze with your
Also,
Orange
I will
juice.
say this: both juggling and flair,
Voicemail, you guys.
there are going to
No.
be people who love that. Like maybe not anyone on this Zoom, but think about like your aunt who has a bit of a corny sense of humor, who's like, "Oh my God, I was at David's house for a drink." And he decided to make me a most, and he did this bar flair, and it was so funny. Or he did juggling, and it was so funny. Know what? Your aunt is not saying, "I was over at David's, and he went to get a knife and pulled out some cards and shuffled them, and that was great." There's no scenario where anyone likes that. It is just a weird behavior where you're like, again, something's going on with them. I'm not sure what I was supposed to do. I laughed, but I didn't feel like it. Stuff like that.
Don't you think, though, that it would at least warrant a conversation that had someone hearing it go, really? In that you go, Alison took out the card, she fanned them across her kitchen island. Then you know that thing where they pick up one edge with their finger and like dominoes, it topples over like a wave all the way to the other end? She can do that. I think anyone you're telling that to would go, that's so weird, but also she can do that? I
That's
think
so
they'd be impressed.
cool.
It's very
What a
cool.
Cool ace in the
No
hole,
one
no
likes
pun.
that.
Everyone in
No one likes that.
Because for me, I'm sorry, I emotionally checked out of this conversation from, Daniel's calling.
Okay. Oh God. Thank God.
Hello. Here, let me put you on speakerphone. Hi. Okay, so doing the show with Tony, Dave, and Wendy. The question is, do you want to come out to the studio and then we can awkwardly share a mic, or do you want me to talk to you on the phone and we can awkwardly have you on speakerphone?
How long is this going to take?
How long do you guys think this is going to take? Can you hear him?
Anywhere
1 to 2
from 5
minutes.
to 60 minutes.
Anywhere from 5 to 60 minutes. Oh, yeah.
7 minutes.
Oh, you can't hear them, so you got to. Oh. Okay, he's going to come out, you guys, and then we'll.
Thank God.
We'll really
Nice.
know.
I know for sure he's going to side with me, Tony.
I feel confident.
I will literally bet any of you $100 if he sides with me and Tony.
It depends on the telling. I mean, the telling's critical.
Allison, you have to be neutral.
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Feel more normal now that Daniel's here.
Yeah.
Earbuds. Yeah. Wendy said she feels more normal now that you're here.
And I
Because it's like the
concur.
real world. In the real world,
sharing
Daniel
my
would
mic.
be here. It's only because we're in quarantine
I
that Daniel's
know.
not here. Hi,
guys.
Daniel.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Good to see you.
You too.
All right.
Okay. Can you hear them?
I can.
Okay. So, okay. Which scenario is the weirdest,
Okay.
Daniel? Someone invites you over to their house and for coffee. You're in the kitchen with them, and they bump
That's
their
definitely the weirdest.
They bump their fruit, but just you wait. They bump their fruit bowl, and did the fruit fall out of it when they bumped it? I don't know what
Yeah.
happens, but first they go and they pick it up, and then on their way to putting it back in the fruit bowl, they juggle it a little bit.
Like to entertain me?
I mean,
It's unclear.
it's unclear. They're just
Like juggle, or like they almost drop it?
They know how to
No.
juggle. They do
Juggle.
a little bit of juggling, then they put the fruit
okay,
back.
okay. All right. Juggling's weird.
scenario one.
Yeah.
By the way, you're also allowed to be taken with the whimsicality
Oh,
and
I
the
am.
surprise.
I live in a world of whimsicality and surprise, though. So
Okay, that's 'cause you live with me. Number two, they invite you over to their house for some coffee. You're in the kitchen.
already, this is so weird.
Well, this is pre-quarantine. or post.
Okay.
You're in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and they go to get a butter knife,
Yeah.
and lo and behold, there's a deck of cards in their hands.
No.
Unwrap it.
Yeah, they're wrapped.
They're wrapped. They unwrap the cards, shake them out, and then they like do one of those like cool card tricks.
Like the accordion thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's called like a Russian shuffle because one card's Russian to the other hand.
Listen to the student of magic over here.
Or they're like, cut them and flip them back onto themselves with one hand.
Uh-huh.
But it's not a magic trick, right? Just shuffling.
Just
Just shuffling. There's a lot of expectation this person has that I'm going to... Okay, go ahead.
you're gonna what?
Like play cards or something.
But they don't play cards.
You don't play cards.
Okay. All right, so they do the trick.
It's not a trick. It's
Just shuffle. Just a fancy shuffle.
We all have opinions about which one
Is weirder.
but we're trying to hide them. Okay, the third scenario, you're in the kitchen.
Wait. So they just do the trick and then what? They put it down? Do they ever get the butter knife?
It's not a trick, it's just shuffling, and they do get the knife. Yeah.
Were they maintaining eye contact with me while they did the shuffle?
I don't know.
We've not established that.
Okay.
It's
okay.
unclear.
All right.
Or you're in the kitchen and suddenly they're doing bar flair. Like you're having a drink and suddenly they're doing bar flair, like, down
Like
low.
flipping the glass,
Yeah, exactly.
do like
And then
cocktail.
they just hand it back to you. Yeah.
But to serve you a drink, they make
To
the
serve
drink
you.
using
Yeah.
some flair.
Okay.
Now,
which is the weirdest?
yeah. And which is not only the weirdest, but which makes you feel that you need to talk about that person behind their back.
Oh.
Wait, can we get a dun dun dun, Tony?
All right, this is easy. The weirdest is the cards.
Yay! Yes! Correct.
This
I was
proves
100%
nothing.
right.
No,
100%
you're
right. That is the
covering your
weirdest. I was
mouth.
right about Daniel,
Yeah.
that he would side with me and Tony, and that it would be a gimme and not even a question.
Easy, and you
Well,
have to be
this
insane
is-
not to think so.
The cards were not wrapped. The cards were
And
not wrapped
afterwards,
in
Daniel,
plastic.
do you
Where did
not?
that
You
come
talk
in?
about that person a little bit afterwards, like you're a little worried about them.
It's weird because it's the only one that contains like social pressure. Like the other two, the one is just like, oh, you can juggle. You're being whimsical. And look, I married whimsical, so I'm fine with that. The cocktail one, it's like, you're making me a drink. You're just being special, a little extra, as the kids say. But the cards has the ominous foreshadowing of a magic trick, or not quite as bad, playing cards. Like either I'm going to have to play cards with this person, or I'm going to have to observe a magic trick.
That's
Both
the
of these
thing.
things
That's the
are
thing about this
horrifying.
card scenario is that it does not proceed to playing cards or to magic. This person literally just wants to shuffle in front of you, which I find more disturbing.
There was a card cutting mixed in.
No, that was a whole different scenario you came up with. You don't get it unlimited scenarios.
What? Hang on.
But no. But the cards thing, it's like later, if it's not acknowledged, later in the evening, I just have to say, I'm sorry. We
Yeah.
have to talk about what happened
Yes.
earlier.
Yes, because otherwise you're going to call me later and go, Wendy, I was at David's house and he just took out some cards and shuffled them for no reason, then put them back in a knife drawer.
Like, is this the card cutting killer?
Right. I said that. I said, you're worried they're going to murder you. I said it. Daniel and I are best friends. I don't care what the name of this show is. Me and Daniel are best friends forever now.
What?
Thank you.
Okay. I went along with Wendy's rules for the scenario. What if the cards weren't wrapped?
No, it's all the rap. has
Doesn't
nothing to
Yeah,
do with
the rap was added
Fuck.
well after.
No, you said it. You said it on the first. Again, this show is being taped. You don't get to just say whatever you want. You said they were wrapped. That was part of the scenario.
I
the
did?
very first time you said this.
No,
scenario.
I meant they were
might have
in the
said that,
box.
David.
No, you said
Like a
wrapped.
a cool card box.
No, I
Yeah,
thought I just
they're
meant
cool.
that
You
they
said
were
wrapped.
like in the. Oh, I apologize.
Again,
That's on me.
being
That's on
taped.
me.
But of three skills, cool shuffling, juggling, or bar flair, which is the coolest?
Oh, what's the coolest on whose terms? Like society's terms or my own personal terms?
Both.
I think the I think definitely the cocktails is the coolest, right? Because it involves drinking.
Yeah, it has the
times
best.
and
It has a
social.
good end result.
Yeah, you're making a cocktail. You can flip the glass around, shaky, pour, whatever they do.
I think it's lame. No offense.
It's not-
Again, no offense to anyone.
But you're,
Clearly, you've
There's
never
only
seen
one-
Cocktail.
but you're not very cool. honey. So,
Thank you.
um,
There's only one that I think is truly cool.
so that one is the coolest, objectively.
And what do you think?
The one that is the most impressive
I'm ready for my heart to be broken right now.
is
'Cause I-
either the cards or the cocktail. It depends on how involved
Oh,
the
you
cocktail
just David.
is.
He does not care for your juggling.
Well, juggling, it depends on. There's some juggling that is impressive. I mean, the way you described it was pick up a couple fruits and just do a little light juggling. Well, light juggling,
Yeah, a couple cycles. Boop, 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 boop,
couple
boop,
cycles.
and then back.
Now, if it's like more than 3 objects, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is okay. Okay, so although juggling is cooler than no, it's not cool. It's true. It's cooler than being on a unicycle.
Ooh, I knew you were going to say unicycle.
Yeah.
I could feel it.
Do you want to hear something surprising?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alison would like to know how to do the card shuffle.
Have I not discussed this with you? It's on like in the
It may be in the
archives of my website.
maybe one of those things that you start to discuss and my brain shuts off, and so it doesn't record. It doesn't etch into.
I think it's
think
extremely
it's cool.
attainable. I think you can attain card juggling. Honestly,
I began to get card finger. I was like squeezing the deck and it was like cutting into my hands, and I found it was much more challenging. And you can't even find instruction online. I ended up learning a few magic tricks.
You're talking about.
Well,
the
this
one-
was the last.
accordion one.
Yes, they do at least colloquially call it the Russian shuffle. I tried to learn
colloquially where?
Russia.
in 2010, and also yes, in Russia. All right, Daniel, thank you very much.
Wait, but I want to know the backstory of these. Did these things actually happen to people?
No, the backstory was just like Alison indicating that it would be so cool if someone just kind of did that, and then David getting on board with it.
Why we don't have people over. I have all these friends that are like, why don't we ever get invited over? And I'm like, trust me. Just trust me on
Yeah,
this.
we
It's for the-
pretend it's COVID, but
It's better for our relationship.
thank you, honey.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
I know
Good
you
to
have.
see
I would,
Good to
I know
see
you
you,
have
buddy.
work, right? Because you announced that when you came in.
I do.
All right. Well,
That was a real slam
surprise
dunk
who
for
you-
me and Tony.
you share your life with.
We're gonna be dining out on that one forever.
If people were to watch the video of this, you'll see that some people kept their composure during all 3 scenarios. Maybe a little
I covered my face so as not to be given away.
over
Yes.
one of them, and then
No.
you were rocking back and forth. You could barely contain yourself.
No, I tried
covered
to
him up over
comment
2
during
of them.
juggling to mislead him so he would think that was my one.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
To
I
see
thought-
if even with that, because I think Daniel would not take my side automatically.
The way you were covering your mouth and moving and looking down, I was like, oh my God, did you just get bad news?
No, I literally was laughing so hard that I knew that he was going to see me and I didn't want to give it away. So I was covering my face so as to hide my opinions.
Did you guys notice that when I told him, and I was trying to be real, like poker faced about it, when I told him about the card trick, I accidentally described it as one of those cool card shuffling. And I'm like, oh shit. So
Obviously, even with that, it did not take.
he and I are going to have words about that later. So I have a surprise for you guys, which is we have a Scotland quiz sent in by the woman. I know I didn't tell you,
What
Wendy.
kind of surprise is that?
It's a wonderful surprise.
Scotland quiz. I thought you were going to be like, I had some snacks delivered to your house. Go down and get them. Like, yay.
Sent in by the woman that David met in Scotland, who is a fan of this show.
Ah,
But wait,
yeah.
first, but look, we are even going to hear some bagpipes and stuff, but that's not happening because first, I mean, it is happening, but first I need to tell you guys about Raycon earbuds. In fact, if you had these right now, you'd be so pleased with the sound of the bagpipes you're about to listen to. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what other people in your home are listening to, or not what's going on in your backyard or whatever. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, but before you go dropping hundreds of dollars on a pair, you need to check out the wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands you know. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. They're so comfortable, perfect for conference calls or binging podcasts. Unlike some other wireless options, they're both stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems to distract anyone during video calls. You've heard me talk about how the company was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, Alison Rosen are obsessed with Raycons. Pick up a pair and see what the hype is all about. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/bestfriend. That's buyraycon, RAYCON.com/bestfriend for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/bestfriend. Okay, so Lindsay, who David met in Scotland, and you mentioned it on the show a long time ago.
Yeah, hello, Lindsay. We went out and had a beer and she filled me in about the certain things about Scotland. It was great.
And now she's in New Zealand.
Whoa.
Yeah.
COVID free.
That's the place to
Good
be.
move.
I
Yeah.
know.
God, I'm jealous.
I have to find. Wait, so she said that you accidentally said, "Is it just me or is it me?" And that every time we do Just Me or Everyone, she laughs about that. I don't know if you said it on the show or if you said it when you were talking to her. I like to think people discuss my segments when they're just hanging out in Scotland.
I think that's what happened. Yeah. I think we were chatting and I couldn't think of it. I was like, what is it called? Just Me or Me? Or whatever she said, I said. I just, maybe I was a little jet lagged or something. But yeah, I said it incorrectly. And I guess that stuck with her.
I remember one time, and I remember it because a listener wrote in about it. I think it was like one of the first episodes back after having Elliot, and I referred to, and I couldn't remember if it was Just Me or Everyone or if it was Just Me or Everything. So, it's a memorable name is what I'm saying. Okay. So we have a Scotland quiz, and she used a special super cool app to do it that I'm hoping I can make work right. But first we have to hear something that makes us think of Scotland. All right.
Did I ever tell you the bagpipe
Soothing.
story I had in Scotland at the end?
I don't know. When I think of you in Europe, I think of you carrying your own butter around, but I guess that wasn't Scotland.
That was Romania. Yeah, that
Carrying
was great.
butter around?
Oh yeah, the delicious butter. We didn't want to let it go, so we transported it with us. We were in this village where like everything was very like farm to table, and so we didn't want to waste all this butter. We also didn't want to bug everyone for their butter, so we just took it with us place to place where we went.
Okay.
It was very efficient. It was delicious. But at the end of the Fringe, we walked up to this place called, I think, Lion's Head. It's just this mountain that looks like a lion that's sitting. We go up there, watch all these fireworks, and then we're coming down, and then my friend and I are on the lower level. And it's pitch dark, can't see anything, but you can just hear, and you can kind of see people with their cell phones bobbing along, like using them as flashlights coming down this hill. And you hear some bagpipes, to which you think, the Fringe is over. It's this really dark night and it's kind of foggy and you see these little lights coming down. Bagpipes, that's great. And then you just hear this voice, like maybe 50 yards behind, like further up the hill, just going, shut your fucking pipes up! Shut the fuck up! For like 10 straight minutes. And we just stood there and watched and tried to guess like if they were gaining on the other person, or it didn't seem like a bit. If it was a bit, it was done so well. But it was probably my favorite moment of the whole
It sounds
Fringe.
like a perfect experience. Because of course somebody's enjoying it and like, it's part of Scotland, but that other person lives in Scotland.
Yeah. It's
like
the
if we heard like
hackiest
a
thing.
fucking strummy guitar playing Americana shit music, we'd be like, fucking shut it.
We just had
Stop
a nice
playing your
moment.
fucking
No one wants to
guitar.
hear Three Doors Down, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what it felt
Yeah.
like.
All right, this guy who's playing Americana music on his guitar unsolicited. Does he do the card shuffling thing? Does he juggle or does he do bar flip? I think he juggles.
Honestly, he's a card dude.
I think he's
No
he is.
way. He's
yeah,
a
he's got a
bar player
fucking
guy.
deck of cards in his guitar and he knocks it out of there and then he's like, look at me.
No, I think he's got devil sticks.
Oh, that's
You know those
possible.
things?
Yeah.
That's what he has. Okay, let's start the Scotland quiz. Let's see.
Hey.
More than 10% of Scots have red hair. True or false? Okay, everyone have your answer. Does everyone have an answer?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's true that more than 10% have red hair. What do you guys think?
I'm going false.
I'm going to go false as well.
I'm going true.
It's true. About 14% of Scots are gingers. Okay, everyone keep their own score, honor system. So Tony and I have,
One.
we each have 1 point.
You just said everyone had to keep their own score and then you proceeded to keep the score.
Yes, I speak out of both sides of my mouth. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't trust you to run this quiz.
Your feelings of me have changed ever since the card
I
thing.
know. Because I'm
Never
worried about
having-
you.
Okay, question 2. What is Scotland's national animal? A, the lion. B, the dragon. C, the unicorn. D, the haggis.
A lion.
I'm going
I also think it's the lion.
Yeah, same.
Dave?
It's a unicorn, and I know this because someone brought it up to me while I was there, and then I would certain jokes that I did that I felt were very silly and imaginative that didn't get responded to well. I would really get frustrated because they're like, "That's such a whimsical animal to choose as your country's animal," and then instead you're just this boring bunch of 14% gingers sitting there like, So it is the unicorn.
It is the unicorn, chosen because the unicorn is the natural enemy of the lion. What? The symbol of English royalty. General Scots don't
okay.
like the English, and the English don't care. But I'm sorry, that's the natural enemy of the unicorn, the lion? Okay. Seems arbitrary.
Yeah, you'd think if a unicorn had an enemy, it would be maybe a Pegasus or something. Like furious
'Cause they're
that it
too
can't
similar?
fly. They're so
Yeah.
similar, you know.
Or a
like,
dragon.
Also, like, is
Maybe
the
a dragon.
enemy of a jaguar a leprechaun? Like, do they pair off like whimsical imaginary creature to actual predator?
Right. You know what they say about Moose and Sprite?
Nessie hates cheetahs. We all know that.
Who almost took down Charles Manson, the Tooth Fairy. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Question number 3. What does, and I'm going to say it wrong, I believe, hold your weast mean in Scots dialect? It's H-A-U-D, your, Y-E-R, weast, W-H-E-E-S-T. Hold your weast. A, shut up. B, stop farting. C, get over it. Okay, I have my guess. Everyone have their guess?
Yeah.
I'll say shut up.
That's what I think.
I think it means hold the Diane Weist. So if like Diane Weist is in a movie and you don't want to see those parts, you call ahead and you say, hold your Weist. And then what they'll do is during the movie, they'll fast forward the Diane Weist parts. Like, so if you're watching Hannah and her sisters and you'd rather not, you can go to the cinema in Scotland. It's very specific and they'll fast forward just the Diane Weist parts or like Parenthood, one of those movies.
Yeah. Or Edward Scissorhands. I love that they offer this.
They offer it. And it's like, I mean, I love her. I don't know why anyone would want that, but that's my guess.
Dave.
I think it's stop farting.
You just
I think
That's fair. That's a fair guess.
Yeah, I your waist. I mean, it's funny both ways. Like what's coming out of your mouth right now is garbage. Just hold it, save it. But also, I think they'd have a funnier term for that. And I think hold your waist is almost like a polite way to like cool it with those farts. So it seems like a very Scottish way to say that.
Unfortunately for you, Dave, and for you, Wendy, it does not mean stop farting.
No.
It does not mean keep Diane Weist out of this. It means shut up.
Oh.
Damn it.
No.
Literally
Still
hold
right.
your quiet. Okay. Question 4. All right. So Tony and I, again, everyone's keeping score for themselves. Tony and I have 2 and Dave has 1. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah.
And I have 0. So we don't have to count.
Question 4. Which famous U.S. novel based its title from a poem by Scotland's poet Robert Burns? A. Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Favorite.
Your favorite book with Thora Birch.
Yeah.
I didn't like Catcher in the Rye.
B. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. C. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. Or D. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Okay, I have my answer.
I do too.
I'm going Cuckoo's Nest. And just to put this out there, there was this J.D. Salinger documentary about how the copyright and or just the rights to his work that he had like locked in a vault. He would get up every day and wear like coveralls and go to this building down the way and write. And he wrote about, I want to say, the Glass family, this extension of like Holden Caulfield's.
Yes.
Are they in that? Yeah, like
No, the Glass family is separate.
okay.
But
So-
he did a lot of writing about the Glass family.
And
They're
that
in
was all.
Franny and Zoe, right?
Yes, and they're also in Raised by the Roof Beam, Carpenters, and Seymour Introduction. Yeah.
Wasn't everyone? So everyone was like excited for that copyright or whatever to come out. Like they were going to start publishing stuff in 2016. This has been a while ago, and it never did. And I think it's because he was a crazy pedophile.
Yes.
And I think that there's a bunch of shit in those books that people were like, "Oh, we can't put this out."
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I didn't think of him as a crazy pedophile. I mean,
Yeah.
but however, I know about the Joyce Maynard. Is that her name? That's
Yeah. She was underage, right? Yeah.
Wait, what kind of was it? Girls and boys, or just girls?
Girls.
or-
Just girls.
Girls. He was one of his wives. They had like a nanny come by or something, like a 14 or 15-year-old. And he like got in touch with her. And next thing the wife knew, she came to live with them. And then the wife slowly just like ushered out of the scene. He was one of those just ultra creeps. So fuck that guy. Fuck Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
I'm saying One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I really liked Catcher in the Rye, and I read some of the other stuff, and none of it ever like moved me in the same way. What about you, Wendy? I remember you read a lot of Salinger, right?
Yes, and I think it's like my. It also like. I mean, I was just joking about Hannah and her sister. Was like, did I only like the art of pedophiles and who I now hate? Like, it's like, was it somehow like, and I like my joke is always like, I was interested in Woody Allen at the exact age he would have been interested in me, because it's just like I'm like now I'm looking back, I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I like those dudes so much? But I mean, I guess it was good writing and all that stuff. But now it's like yes, I liked it at the time. I read all those books obsessively. I remember them very well. And then for him to turn out to be a pedophile is just so like, oh. So,
But did you? I know.
Also,
that
I think
I'm not-
that's the answer. I think Catcher in the Rye is the answer.
That's what I think is the answer too.
I'll go Grapes of Wrath, just cause. Total guess.
Okay. Catcher in the Rye, named for the protagonist Holden Caulfield's misinterpretation of Burns' poem "Comin' Through the Rye." Okay. Question number 5. Which of these fictional characters is not Scottish? A. Groundskeeper Willie. B. Ebenezer Scrooge. C. Robin Hood. D. Shrek.
Scrooge, baby.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
I think.
I think it's Robin Hood.
Yeah, it's one
Could be
of
Robin
those.
Hood too.
And I'm going to say Groundskeeper Willie, but I don't even know who that is.
He's from The Simpsons.
Oh.
Also, like, is Shrek actually Scottish by nationality, or he's just doing a Scottish accent? Because he lives in a swamp with Donkey, and I think they live in an imaginary kingdom. So,
But he's doing the same accent that he did for the dad in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yes.
And I think therefore we can at least kind of say that he's de facto Scottish.
Yeah.
The answer is C, Robin Hood. Although there is new evidence Robin was based on William Wallace, Mel Gibson's character in Braveheart, Robin Hood is an English folklore character.
You're right.
There you go.
I'm back in the mix, guys. I've got 2.
I have 3.
Damn it.
I still only
Tony.
have 1.
It's anyone's game. Question 6. Say these two. Well, say these 2 Scottish place names correctly. 1 point for each correct pronunciation. All right. I guess I'm gonna have to. What's the most fun way to do this? Is the most fun way to skip it?
Just say the spelling and then we'll all try to say it at the same time.
Okay. The first one is the easier one. Edinburgh. So did everyone get the word? Don't say it yet.
Yes.
Everyone got it? Okay. Let's say it at the same time and then, because that'll be funny. And then we'll just take it from there. Okay. So let's say we're going to do 1, 2, 3 and we'll all say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
Edinburgh.
Okay. I said Edinburgh.
I also said that.
Dave said that.
I said Edinburgh.
I said Edinburgh.
Okay. Well, we know Tony is wrong. Oh, wait a minute. Well, how do we know the correct answer?
Oh, no.
She didn't send along the phonetics?
Oh, no. It's Edinburgh. So I think Dave is the only one who got that right.
Closest. Yeah, I still added like borough, not bruh.
Okay,
Edinburgh.
then no one got that one right.
Okay.
And then
But I heard even locals there say it kind of that way, like bruh, bruh. It was always like the
I
bruh.
spaced. I was like, I know it's not what it looks like it's going to be, and because I've been there several times, so I'm ashamed of myself.
Everyone kept asking me if I was going to Edinburgh or Edinburgh.
Really?
Like a lot of Americans would say Edinburgh. You going to Edinburgh? And I'd be like, And then when I got there, it was, either Edinburgh or Edinburgh.
Dave, I think you should take a point.
I'm happy not to,
I'm
guys.
fine
If it
with
comes
that.
down
I
to
only
a
have
tiebreaker.
1, so as far as I'm concerned, it's anyone's game but mine.
Okay. And the next one, I'm going to spell it AUCHTERMUCHTY. Did your brain get that?
No.
Yes.
AUCHTERMUC. I'm going to write it down and just hold it up.
Perfect. I'm doing a whole podcast of me just writing things down. So this is a good
People love
test for
it.
me to see if it's working, and it is working.
Can you guys see that, or is it reversed for you?
Yeah.
I can see it.
And there's a hint. CH is a sound like a very quick and small hairball in your throat. Okay, does everyone have a guess?
Yes.
Okay. Are we going to do it all at the same time?
Sure.
Let's do it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I said octomady. What everyone else? Wendy, I know what you said. Dave, what'd you say?
Wendy's is more of a frequency.
She actually has provided a YouTube link to find the pronunciation, but I can't click on it, so it's going to be too hard to get it. So, thanks. Do it again.
I was making a guess.
Oh, I thought that was Tony playing it.
No, it was me. I go, outer mixy.
I really thought Tony had pulled up the YouTube.
I think it's
Okay.
one of those where the end had, like, even though there's a K and stuff in there, they have, like, they do it more than any, well, maybe like Australia has that a lot too. Like, oh, it's pronounced way different, where you see like all those letters and then you're just like,
That's
no,
why I
it's-
said octomady. The phonetic that she wrote out is ochtermuchty. Tony, could you
Yeah.
look up how to pronounce it? It exists on YouTube.
I'm gonna need that.
I think it's
spelling
like
one more time.
Achtermoody. Achtermoody. That's how I think it is. Hey, I'll be heading over to Achtermoody.
I think seems about right. You might be winning.
Might be winning. We should count the points again. Just to check.
Ochtermachty.
Oh, it is pretty close. To like all the letters. Achtermachty.
I think I should get a point for when you thought it was real.
I think you should too.
Thank you. I have 2 points now.
Wasn't very great, but your Achtermachty was pretty good.
Yeah, I
Pretty
have 2
convincing.
points.
Okay, and lastly, haggis is Scotland's national dish. Which of the following 4 facts are true about haggis? Oh boy, 1 point for each fact correctly identified as true. A, haggis is cooked and served in a sheep's stomach. B, haggis meat comes from a small mammal known as the Highland haggis. C, before you eat a haggis, you read it a poem. D, Highland haggis have difficulty breeding. Highland haggis have difficulty breeding. E, importing haggis into the U.S. is illegal. F, haggis should be played into the room by a bagpiper. Does everyone know which ones they think are true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the sheep stomach one is true, and I think that that's the only one that's true.
I think sheep stomach. I think illegal. And I think trouble breeding.
I think sheep stomach and illegal. Just
That was
those
the 2 I was going with as well.
All right. The following are true. Haggis is stuffed into, then cooked in a sheep's stomach.
Bang,
Before
bang,
you-
bang, bang. We all win.
Before you eat a haggis, you read it a poem. Not every time, but traditionally. And importing it into the U.S. is illegal. And haggis should be piped into the room by a bagpiper. Again, not every time, but traditionally. There you go. And then let's see if I can read this. I do not have my reading glasses in this room. Haggis made of sheep heart, liver, and lungs, oats, and spices. There's more here. Tourists are often told that it's a small mountain-dwelling creature. I cannot make out this tiny writing. But anyway, that's what it's made of. Now we know. Sorry for the super anticlimactic reading. I mean ending. Super anticlimactic ending. And she even told me it's better. The app she used to make the quiz is better on a computer than a phone, but it will work on a phone in a pinch. And I thought that it would be too hard to do it off my computer while also zooming on my computer. So apologies. But Lindsay, thank you so much for that fun quiz. So wait, who won?
I think Dave won.
I think Dave won.
Really? I'm kicking myself for not getting the poem thing. That seemed like a classic Scottish thing. I only got 2 of them though at the end.
But
And
how
then
many was that? Were you adding those to?
2, right? I think you guys
Yeah.
tried to give me 3, but I don't know that I pronounce Enbra right.
Okay. Well, so then I think that you and I both have 4.
Right.
So there's a
So like
tiebreaker question.
Yeah.
How many islands does Scotland have? Hint, there are a lot.
Islands?
So is this the closest without going over tiebreaker question? Or do you have to get it exactly right? Because we could be here for literally years.
I think it's just whoever gets closer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Closer to the islands.
Do you have a guess?
Go whoever's closest.
Are you putting a large napkin around your neck to enjoy a meal, David?
Yeah.
Oh.
Putting on
Are you about to dig into like a big ham?
I'm gonna shave off my beard.
What?
I'm sick of it.
Oh my gosh.
What a time.
I was going to guess 12 islands. What about
Oh my
you?
God, he's really shaving his beard.
I'll
This
say
is
7.
amazing. You guessed 7. Okay. 790. Holy shit.
What?
I'm closer.
That is a lot.
790?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I guess I win. You guys, this is a real Patreon exclusive. We are watching. Is that the Scottish flag, though, or anything that you just tied to yourself? Or is it
Oh
just.
no, it's just a
I mean-
beach towel.
Okay. I truly thought it was a Scottish flag. I don't
Dave,
know.
all of that hair is falling in the ham. You're not going
What's
to be
that?
able to eat. You're not going to be able to eat your nice meal because all of your beard hair is falling in it now that you put the bib on to eat.
You don't eat your own hair? It's good luck.
No.
This is fun, you guys. Patreon.com/AlisonRosen.
Patreon.
You can watch Dave go from like full on long beard guy who would juggle fruit, but not
This
do
guy would
something-
juggle fruit. Creepy
Yeah,
ass
that guy would
goatee.
I think your before guy would juggle fruit.
Oh,
your new
really?
guy
What's
does-
this guy? This guy's like a
He might be-
Lebowski guy.
He might be bar flair.
I feel bad that I didn't plan a stunt. Should I put on a full Joker makeup?
Yes.
This is very unfortunate. I did not plan a single thing.
I'm taken by watching Dave, his appearance change. Now you've just got like a big old
now
sleazy
he's like
mustache.
Wild West Sheriff.
Yes.
Yeah. A noble but compromised Wild West Sheriff whose brother is also an outlaw.
Mm-hmm.
Can he keep playing both sides? Who can say? Thora Birch. B is the saloon keepstress.
Keepstress? Is that a word?
Nope.
Or he's Gallagher.
Oh, yeah. Go the other way with it.
What?
Look at this new guy you are.
Yeah, way better.
I would like to say welcome and thank you to the new Patreon subscribers. Megan, Kristen, Debbie, Sean, hello and thank you. Let's do a little TV talk.
TV time, TV time, TV time, TV time, TV time, TV time.
Dave, you do look like an outlaw.
Oh, thank you.
It's a good look.
Yeah, outlaw's a good look, not a good personality.
But it's just a look. Your personality is in law. Okay.
I feel like I'm desperately searching the rodeo scene for a cure for AIDS with this look.
We just finished The Great on Hulu last night. Did you guys watch it?
It's
No.
wonderful.
It was really good. Yeah, I really liked it. It took me a little while to get into it. But then, now I'm sad it's over. I'm also watching Perry Mason. Is anyone watching that?
I've watched
I'd like to. I like Michael Reese.
Yeah.
Or
is
Matthew
that-
Reese. Matthew Reese.
His brother is Michael.
Right.
Yeah, naturally.
He's in Gary Mason, which is a different show on TNT.
Wait, am I watching the wrong one? Should I be watching Gary Mason?
You can watch both. They complement one another, and their mom likes both of those shows very much.
Oh, good. I am enjoying Perry Mason, and I know I'm going to love Gary Mason, but I need a new show now. What should it be? Maybe I'm considering going back to The Americans, which we never finished.
My favorite.
Should I go back?
The
Really?
best. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
there's
very
one
good.
slow season, and other than that, it's a masterpiece, in my humble opinion.
No, I've heard this from other people's humble
Fully
opinions.
agree. So just criminally underrated as a show, underpublicized.
Yeah.
I'll change that. Okay, I'm going to go revisit that. Did you guys watch The Leftovers?
Did not.
Yeah, we watched a couple episodes. It's something I feel like I would like, but as a duo, we didn't get into it.
I watched 2 seasons of it, I think. I found it to be a good show that was not enjoyable to watch. It was like upsetting and slow at times and just unpleasant. But at the same time, you're like, wow, it's very well done. But then I've heard the final season is like amazing. And yet I don't feel like revisiting it. But I think I'll be forced into it from Daniel. I've heard I May Destroy You is really good. Have you guys seen that?
We've watched one, and we're going to finish watching it. We watched one, and then we moved, and so we just haven't gone back to it because we haven't been watching a lot of TV since we moved for some reason. So because there's nothing in our room, I guess,
Right.
and we don't have a couch downstairs also. So like I have to lay on the hard, cold floor and watch TV, and it makes my old bones hurt. You didn't ask. But have you watched Watchmen yet?
No. I think Daniel did, but I didn't.
Oh, okay. Really, I mean, I love Regina King. I'm the biggest Regina King fan in the world, but so that's very good. If you want another Damon Lindelof property.
Honestly, I think my concern, and this might be stupid, my concern with Watchmen was that, is it extra violent?
The first, it is disturbing throughout, but there's kind of a method to it where like a lot of the imagery in the first 3 or 4 is very disturbing, but if you can kind of push through it, there's a method to it going on. I wound up enjoying it a lot.
Okay.
Have you watched Unorthodox?
No, I heard that was really good too.
I loved Unorthodox. Really
Okay.
good.
I'm going to watch it. My mom told me she thought that I might like The Politician on Netflix. I don't think I did. I only watched one episode at the beginning of one, but it didn't. I realized that's not really giving something long enough. But did anyone else watch that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Have not. How about Schitt's Creek? Have you watched all of Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
Okay.
Love it. Watched all of it and then immediately went back and started watching it from the beginning again just to see how the characters evolve over time. And
Yes.
yeah, it was
good.
such a good. That,
Can I tell you a sad story?
okay.
We have some friends and we're hanging out, and one of them, she kept saying, David, to me probably 1,000 times in one night. And so I really turned off to that show because of that. But everyone that I trust really likes it, so I'm going to get into it.
It's a good quarantine show. It's very comforting. It's
Yes.
like there's not a lot of outside world problems. It exists in this sort of the same space. It's almost like an animated show in that like they kind of like they live in like the same two rooms. And like I think that's what I liked about it was I was like, oh, there's no outside world problems coming in here. It's like just like, yeah, I don't know.
If you want a
comforting.
nice, soft quarantine show that for whatever reason it seems like no one has seen, although it did, I think, win like a BAFTA. So it did okay over there. But Detectorists is
Oh, I've not even heard of it.
just the best. It's so calm. It's really relaxing. The cinematography on it is really just like soft and pretty. And it's just these two guys that hang out in the English countryside, and they both are really into metal detectoring. And then they get into like various scrapes and what have you. But it's really, really slow pace, really like deadpan, great, really funny. I love it. I can't recommend it enough.
I will check it out. And Wendy, your show, which has not premiered yet, has already been picked up for a second season, right?
It did get picked up for a second
Oh,
season.
hell yeah.
So we'll start in
Congratulations.
January and we'll do half of this season. We're a mid-season premiere. So we'll premiere in January and then we should have a full year starting in the fall of 2021 if the world is still here. So that's cool.
That's
something
really
for
cool.
us. Look
Congrats
forward to.
on that second season, though.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
It was a delightful surprise that we got a second season pickup because we have not aired yet. So that's
so
a
how
nice.
does that happen? And this is for anyone wondering what show are we talking about? We're talking about the new animated show that you are you're show running and you're the head writer of and creator of, right?
Yeah,
With your sister.
co-creator.
It's called
Yeah, and yeah, it's
North.
called The Great North, and it'll be on Fox.
And Paul Rust, right?
Paul Rust, Nick Offerman, Aparna Nancherla, Dulcie Sloan. Of course, I can't remember who's in it. Megan Mullally. I'm like, my brain is Will Forte. Think of them in order. Jenny Slate. And I think that's all the main cast. But then we also have Ron Funches is in it a bunch. And we have a lot of really wonderful guest stars coming up too. So
I can't
Cool.
wait. So how does that? How do you get picked up for a second season when it hasn't aired yet?
I think the thing with animation is you do need to pick it up ahead of time in order to have shows because it's so you have to draw it. So I think they were happy with what they were seeing, and we got the first color version back of the pilot, and they were happy with that, and they were happy with the new stories that we were breaking for season 2 because we had like 4 episodes picked up for season 2, but then they were happy with those. So they went ahead and picked up the rest of the season. So I think it's also, I mean, I think unfortunately it's because of quarantine, like they know that we can keep producing. We're all working from home. The team at Bento Box moved everybody home, in all the artists, all the production. I mean, it's this massive enterprise that's now spread out over hundreds of houses in the Los Angeles area. So they know that we can keep making the show. So like, I do not wish for a COVID or a quarantine, but I think that we are a show that can keep going, as can Bob's Burgers, which is the other show I write for. And, the other animated shows, we can keep going, which like, it's good. Cause I think people do need stuff to watch and like forget about their troubles and whatever. So and not good that there's a COVID,
Right.
but good. I don't know why I'm calling it a COVID.
No, I get it.
But-
You are cashing in on people's misfortunes.
Right. That's why I get nervous saying like, oh, well, we can keep making it during, like, we do not want to be in any
Of course.
good position with regarding a
And
pandemic.
What is the experience of doing your job and creating from home like versus like being in a writer's room?
Well, we do a lot of Zoom. stuff. And, I think we try to keep our staff like, so they don't have to be on Zooms like 8 hours a day or something. Cause I find it hurts your eyes and you just run out of, like endurance more quickly. So, it makes it like more fun to see people because you don't get to like just wander down the hall and see everybody. So, but we try to keep it pretty organized. So it's like efficient during the day. Like people are in a room breaking a story or they're doing an alt room. But there can be a bunch of different Zooms going on at the same time. And then Lizzie and I have to do, like a bunch of, also production type things like reviewing visuals and going over the animatics and all that stuff. And that, somebody has to share their screen and like, so there can be internet problems. So there's definitely challenges, but it's been pretty smooth. Like we've been able to keep it going. It hasn't been, I don't know.
You don't feel hindered.
Of course, we'd all rather be in real life. But given the situation, I think we're doing okay. So, yeah.
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 Cool. I just recently have started, I actually feel like I'm in a good mood right now because I'm talking to you guys. But just lately, like kind of dipping into a depression again, just feeling like, fuck, like what is happening and what is the future going to look like and how long is this going to last? And whereas that wasn't on my mind so much. I don't know. I'm sure it waxes and wanes, but like, how are you guys all doing?
Did you ever finish The Plague?
No, I need to. I cannot, like my attention span is so shitty right now.
It's really great for that feeling you're having. As weird as that sounds. I feel like that's the whole kind of tone that he captured so long ago. It's a very like human feeling. I think we just are feeling it's more prevalent than it's ever been. I mean, the world is always spinning around this extraordinarily hot and like volatile burning ball of gases and fire, and we're like, that's fine. And we get used to we live on the San Andreas Fault, and we're kind of like, that's fine. And then there's oceans, and there's just so many things. There's pestilence, there's bad people, and we just kind of get used to like, it's okay. There's always this risk, but now more than ever, it feels so in your face and so publicized and so real that it is hard to turn away from. We're all just struggling with that, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we're very lucky. Like things are fine. We're managing and we are, I recognize how lucky we are. At the same time, this feeling of, like you just said, Wendy, like we'd all rather be in real life. Like this is not real life is just, it kind of like blunts your ability to experience joy, I think.
Mm-hmm. And just not know. Yeah. The fact that we have no date to look ahead to, like obviously we don't, but that's what kills me is like I like having like this like target date to look at and it's just not there, and that's hard for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Wendy, I bet the move put a spring in your step, right?
It did in that like it's nice to have something else to focus on, and then but also like there were times we couldn't avoid like some small amount of contacts, and I am not very depressive, but I'm very anxious. So that's I go into like super, super crazy anxiety, like where it feels unbearable at times. So like when I have like a situation that I feel like I can't control and I get anxious again, like that I don't love, but I also know it's like weird because we're in an unprivileged position in America in that there's no plan and there's no fucking, like Tony's saying, like no end in sight because no one's managing it. Right. And then in a sort of privileged position in that like we have, personally, I have resources to deal with things. Like I'm not also, because I'm working, I'm not also struggling, wondering how I'm going to pay rent or where my paycheck is coming from. So I try to recognize that like my personal anxiety is not the most important thing in the world, but that's not how anxiety works too. At the time that it's happening, it's like a fucking siren going off in your head where you can't be like, but Wendy, you have the ability to buy Pringles at the store or whatever, even though I fucking love Pringles. So like, I'm very happy when we get some Pringles, but, it's just like, that's, so it's just going in and out of that a little bit. And like, I have to take care of we have 4 kids, so we have to focus on them. And that is like, could be a negative, but it's, I think, a net positive because it kind of like, we can't get too far down because like who would feed them? So it's like, maybe that's like, just keeps a little engine running or whatever. But yeah, it fucking sucks, man. Somebody ought to be in charge.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
To have it like, because if we shut down hard the entire nation for 8 weeks, we'd be in a lot better shape at the end of 8 weeks.
I know.
But nobody will fucking just do it. They're worried that someone with a mask, or who won't wear a mask, is going to come like yell at them at the drugstore.
I keep daydreaming about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say real fast. I have a listener who's a retired doctor from the Mayo Clinic, and I email sometimes, and he, like, at the very beginning, he's like, we need to just shut down for 3 weeks. He didn't even say 8 weeks. He said 3 weeks, like hardcore shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then this would be over.
Yeah.
But it won't happen.
Yeah. Every single epidemiologist is like, if everyone could just freeze 6 feet apart from each other for 2 or 3 weeks, it would disappear.
And give everyone a week to prepare.
Yeah. I keep daydreaming about this thing, and I'll ask friends from time to time, like, what do you think would have been the case if we had leadership that in late December, early January, it was like, hey, this is not a partisan thing. I don't want to alarm anyone, but the reason we have a pandemic response team is they got their feelers out all around the world, and there is something happening in China. We don't know what it is, but there's a high probability it is spread. So just be careful if you're in large groups, wash your hands, distance, will keep you up to speed. And then in February being like, all right, we've got 2 cases, which means there's probably 100,000 cases. Yeah. Please stay indoors. Don't go out. This is not a political issue. And then I would ask my friends, like, if that was happening, do you think things would be different? Which I'm always hoping that someone would respond with like, no, we've got all these idiots that would instantly turn it into a political matter and not wear masks. But unequivocally, everyone's like, oh yeah, it would totally be different if we had any kind of leadership. And then that makes me sad. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We have to deal with this. We have to like show a certain level of leadership in a weird way where like, I was thinking like I should travel when I go out with my own masks, because like the lady that said, oh, hey, I called the cops on that guy. There are people with their masks down and or not wearing a mask. And every single time I've asked someone, like a FedEx guy came with no mask. I go, they don't give you guys masks? He goes, oh, they rip really easily. Boom. Here you go. I got you, man. I should be the solution rather than just like cringing and going like, what is happening? Everyone's an idiot. I just go, gotcha. Here you go. Here's a mask. So I think it's going to take this weird thing that the United States is kind of defining who it is all the time. And we are just like developing this narrative that like, it is just kill or be killed. We're not that kind of a nation. We're just a bunch of like fucking maniacs all scrambling over each other. At this point, allowing children to go to school in Orange County and allowing the older people just to like with no mask. Who are we?
And no
what the fuck is this?
Apparently,
insanity. Just like some weird level of natural selection that people are comfortable with. That's asinine.
It's just like magical thinking too. Like, what do you think? Do you think people are making this up? Like, it's so fucking bizarre. I can't even get my head around it.
Because I don't know what I saw, but someone, saying that it's being made. It like they're making it up to affect the election of the outcome of the election. It's like, you think this is like the entire globe is in on the con? It gets I get so frustrated when I run into that kind of thinking.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
People in the rest of I'm so curious what like Lindsay in New Zealand thinks about it. Like I know when I was over there, and that was 2017, it felt so nice just to wake up and not have this impending feeling of like glancing at your phone and like, oh fuck, what does that trending thing mean? Or what does this news article mean? What is the new drama that happened today? This just every day, some form of chaos. And I feel like the rest of the world must just be like, oh, they're like in a burning building, just trapped. And some people are able to like look out the window and be like, I'm still entertaining you, or I'm still keeping up a good attitude, but we're all in the same building.
I can shuffle with the cards.
Now's the time to learn, man.
It really is.
Do it for us.
You guys, this has been really fun. It was so nice to see you.
It's great to see you
too. Good to see everybody.
Thanks for being on the show.
Of course.
And everyone should go listen to the podcast that you guys have put out together. Tell us where to find that.
David, where do we find it?
Well, you can go to thesearethositapes.com, spelled exactly how it sounds. And if you don't spell great, I bet if you Google it, you will find it. It's on Stitcher, iTunes. Right now there are 6 as we're recording this, but by the time you hear this, there's a high probability there will be 8. So 2 new ones.
Quarantine special.
Couple quarantine specials, 1 at least, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And it's just silliness. It doesn't have to do with anything. It's a nice little escape from
it's just a little improvised goof 'em up is what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. And they're short. They're like 30 minutes. So they're little snacks.
If you like what you're hearing, subscribe. First of all, if you aren't subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe your friends, and also tell your friends what you can choose the order that you do that in. And leave us a nice comment. 5 stars is our favorite number. I read the comments on the show often in a segment called iTunes Comments of the Week. So thank you so much for all of your nice comments. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Alison Rosen. I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. I'm also on Cameo, cameo.com/Alison Rosen. And listen to my other podcast, Childish. Wendy, where else might we find you?
I'm pretty much only on Twitter. It's at Wendy Molyneux on Twitter. I am going to make a public facing Instagram. I decided because of the show. Because right now, like a lot of times after I'm on your show, people request me on Instagram, and like it's literally wall to wall just pictures of my kids. So I don't accept anyone on Instagram. It's just like me and my mom and dad. But I am eventually. But right now, just on Twitter at wendymolyneux.com. And
Dave?
watch Bob's Burgers.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I stepped on that. Dave?
July 25th, I'll be at the Sacramento Punchline, and then August 1st. No, it doesn't make you just. It just is like terrifying to me when people do that. People are out trying to still do shows.
Same.
It bothers the shit out of me, and I feel like comedians should be this kind of like barometer of bullshit versus critical thinking and logic, etc. And so when comics are like, I just got to get out there and make money, you're being a sheep, bro, it's offensive in so many levels. But I'll be sitting at home, and I'm editing the thing I shot in January. That'll be out at some point. Beyond that, I've got my own podcast. If you want to listen, it's called The Space Cave. That's about it. I'm just hanging out.
And your Huntsberger junk.
Oh, yeah, on Twitter. I don't do a whole lot on Twitter, but every now and again. And I sometimes put stuff on Instagram, Dave Huntsberger. But I haven't been doing a lot with social media during this. It's just a little too frustrating for me.
That's good. I need to learn from you. Tony?
At Tony Thaxton, Twitter and Instagram, and my podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday.
Thank you guys so much. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show?